Hi friends, this is Aylin Aydin, your astrologer and tarot reader, and this is your seasonal tarot reading for the spring of 2021. In this seasonal tarot reading, there's a couple of things that we're going to be going over. So I'm going to outline every single one of those things that we're going to be going over before we get started. So this reading covers everything you need to know for the spring season of 2021. The first thing that we're going to start out with, though, is a collective message reading with all of the elements. And as we go through the elements and through the cards that I have pulled for the elements, I will be explaining what it all means. The second thing that we're going to go over is the tarot reading for your personal sign that covers each of the lunar phases during this season. The first phase that we're going to be focusing on is the new cycle beginning with the new moon in Aries. The second phase we'll focus on is the new cycle beginning with the new moon in Taurus. And then the third phase that we're going to be focusing on is the new cycle that begins with the new moon in Gemini. Let's get started with the collective message. Now, the collective message is going to consist of 5 elements that we're going to cover for this entire season. It is going to be fire, water, earth, air, and space. And as we cover these, I'm going to give more examples of what the elements stand for. Now, majority of us already know or have a relationship to these elements that I'm going to be going over. But if you're drawn to certain elements, make sure you come back and listen to them again. Or you could also just put together a bigger kind of message for yourself through your sun, moon, or rising sign. Now, the very first thing that I'm going to be covering is the element of fire. Fire stands for the self, for our body, for the way in which we use our strength, mind, body, spirit all together to put things into action. It's also an element that stands for action. And the collective message here, the 2 tarot cards that fell out, was the 4 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So what we can expect during this spring season is that we're going to feel a little bit restless. We're also going to feel restless because we're trying to figure out and narrow down what it is that we should be focusing on. And I think that that is the reason why this was reversed, because a lot of our focus during this spring season is going to be on everything that we're trying to accomplish, or we're trying to ignite a new path. So there is sort of this moment here where a lot of our actions will be sort of coming with a lot of intensity. And I think that it's also going to be focusing a lot on just giving ourselves an opportunity to begin again and to move forward again. Now, with the fire element, there is also an oracle card that I have felt drawn to pull for this spring season, and that is the dolphin. And it says, embrace your inner child. And I really feel that what this message is all about is that we are to look at the things that we truly, truly love. Now let's move on to the water element. The water element, there's a bunch of cards that fell out here. So we're going to go through it one by one. The water element is our emotions, but really what is being reflected in our day-to-day. What kind of emotional currency are we going to be moving through all throughout this season? I think that when we are coming up to the full moon in the first lunar cycle, what we are discovering is that there is a strength that is returning within us. The Queen of Wands fell out. It's really just going to be about a strength, or we're going to discover a moment here. It's going to be an aha moment that, you know, gives us sort of an answer that we have been looking for, and it reignites our faith. That's what I'm seeing here with the Queen of Wands. The second card that fell out is the 7 of Wands reversed. I think that we're going to feel quite kind of tired by the time we get to that full moon. The reason for that is because, again, the energies are very intense during the beginning of this spring season with that new moon cycle in Aries. And there's just a lot that we're trying to accomplish in a short period of time. So it seems that's what the cards are showing us here. But even if even if we take a look at the astrological transits, that is what we're seeing as well. We're moving forward. The energy is moving us forward. And so what we are discovering during this time is that this is our opportunity to step into our destiny, our fate. There's a lot of fated events that might be unfolding in your life. And if this really speaks to you, this is going to be a moment where you have to sort of take a moment to gauge if this opportunity is worth pursuing, right? Because opportunities are going to be arising, but not every opportunity is going to bring us what we're looking for. And so here you must remind yourself of the past. Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is basically saying, are you repeating something from the past because you're trying to, get a particular emotion back into your life? But does it have to come through this one thing? Does it have to be through this one person? Does it have to be through this one company, this one, job, this one path that you thought all of your life would be the only way that you would feel accomplished? The Five of Cups here is saying, is this really what it is that you're trying to accomplish, or are you repeating the past? Make sure you're listening to your heart. Make sure you're listening to the clues, right? Like take a moment to gather all the information and then see emotionally what feels right. Because, your own inner heart wisdom knows the answers. And I think that's what the Five of Cups is saying here. You must take the past into consideration. Now, the spiritual guidance card is Sandbar. Okay, it says discovery of new pathways and opportunities. Yes, absolutely. There is going to be new pathways and opportunities. But again, we must actually look for those opportunities as well during the season. So a lot of it will come to us. But then if you feel that you're repeating the past, there is going to be another way. There is going to be another way. And you must stay open in order to see it. And that's what I'm seeing here. So emotionally, what are we taking a look at? We're taking a look at, focusing on being hopeful and focusing on being curious, focusing on love. Do we love it? Yes, no. That is how we're gauging all throughout this spring season. For the earth element, the one tarot card that fell out here is the Two of Wands. This is so interesting because I really feel that we are going to be looking at how to put value back into our life through the lens of where we belong emotionally. Where do we belong in the world emotionally? What is it we desire? Who are the people that need to be in our lives or that we envision that are in our lives, right? So these are the things that we're going to be looking at. I also feel like a lot of us will be finding new sets of values because our values have changed. So that is another really big thing, I think, with the Two of Wands. It's a very simple message for the earth element. Now, for the spiritual advice, we have Poseidon. Emotions are intense. Be cautious of how you treat others. So I really do feel that because we're going to be in a very passionate season, I think that what a lot of us can expect is that we're going to be clearing a lot of misunderstandings in our relationship dynamics. That's number one. I also think that we're going to be clearing the way for us to know now where we emotionally belong in the future. I think that that is going to be a very big role based on our values. We're to ground ourselves in this area emotionally and to look for genuine connection. I think that is going to be another really, really big part here. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing with this Poseidon card is that there is sort of this moment where we could be creating a storm in our lives, which is what Poseidon really represented anyway in Greek mythology. He was feared for being the person that created storms. And so I think that what we are to watch out for is how we're communicating our values to other people, because during this time, we could be emotionally very sharp. And what we're saying could really hurt another person. And so I think that we have to be mindful of how we are communicating what it is that we feel on the inside out there. There is also going to be new information that is going to come up that will help everyone to connect the dots. There is more information that's coming up for the collective, for out into the open, for people to see, that will allow for us to connect the dots. This will have to do with science. This will have to do with scientific research. This will also have to do with anything that needs more scientific research. And so I think that during this time, we're going to feel very passionate. For the air element, our intellect, the way in which we are going to be thinking, the way in which we might communicate, or the way in which we get inspired, we have the 9 of Wands. I think that what we're realizing is that there are certain things in our lifestyle that we are now seeing in the collective way that is just not worth defending anymore, or is worth defending. So we're going to have both sides here. I also am seeing with the spiritual advice card, Bird of Paradise, embark on a new adventure. Yes, there are going to be new ways in which we're wanting to dissolve past boundaries so that we can live our life in a different kind of a way. So there could be moments where you might just sort of decide that you want to do something very different because the opportunity presents itself. And I think that the way that you want to do this something different is going to come through is by you getting sort of a piece of communication that empowers you. I think we can really count on that, especially during May when we get into that new moon cycle, or that entire phase with the new moon beginning in Taurus. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to be in this place where we're going to want to reach further beyond what we used to do in our day-to-day. And now that opportunity is there. Now we're wanting to grab that opportunity and we want to go with it. I also think that there is going to be a lot of people that will start to share what has happened to them in the last year and a half, who they've become, who they've seen, what has happened, to them, and what exactly the shifts are that are happening within them. For the last element, which is space. Space basically representing what are we to hold space for in our lives during this particular season. The one card, tarot card that fell out is the Page of Wands. And that is interesting. The Page of Wands is like a new learning curve about ourselves. So we're going to continue to learn more about who we're becoming. We're also going to be continuing to learn about how to trust the actions that we're taking. I think that there is this moment where we are to trust, especially right before the eclipse, we are to trust that what is happening and what is unfolding in our lives is exactly what is meant to be. Because some things are fate, and then some things will also mix with fate and our free will, obviously. But here, the Page of Wands basically says, look, you have to trust the feeling that you have. You have to trust the value that you have in your life. And it is leading you, it is guiding you somewhere. And it might be a new intimate connection that you have with people, with your career, with certain values in your life, and you are to trust it. And the spiritual message cards, there's 3 of them that came out. The first one is anchor. Be hopeful, choose optimism. I think that there can be some cynicism that could come up, right? If the card were to be reversed, if we don't take the opportunity, even though the energies are very good and the energies will be guiding us into a new perspective that we can anchor into, that we can have faith and hope over, that we can have optimism over. So as the collective, we are learning how to trust the actions that are being taken. And then there's also going to be moments where we're going to see who we cannot trust. Because it always goes both ways, right? It's not just one way, like everything is rainbows and lollipops, it is going to go both ways. And so I think that there is going to be moments where we will actually see that we cannot trust this one person, or we've trusted the wrong kind of, situation. And so that is going to come up as well. And the second spiritual message for trust and holding, new kinds of trust in our life is the fish. And again, the foundation for it is going to be, what are we trusting? Who are we trusting? And first and foremost, are we trusting ourselves so that the balance can come in? The third spiritual message is the starfish. Trust your instincts. So what's interesting about the starfish is that the starfish is a very complex creature. It actually doesn't have a brain. It has a very complex nervous system. The starfish also speaks about the fact that when we take a look at the starfish and the life of the starfish in and of itself, it relies on its environment for survival. So these types of themes are going to be coming up. The space that we're coming into, especially when we get into the Gemini season, there is going to be moments where we're going to realize that there are certain dependencies that we have in our environment that are being betrayed. And because they're being betrayed, we are now to trust a new path. We're now to trust something else. And where is that something else going to come from? You know, this is what we're looking at with the starfish, right? There is a betrayal of some sort that is going on to the values that we used to hold, or we thought we were putting all of our trust into this one thing in our environment, whether that's the food industry, whether that is some kind of, area of our life specific to where we live in our environment, that now we see is actually not what it is. And I think that with the starfish, it is hope. The message is hope that we can overcome betrayal. And the way that we can do that is by bringing the communication, or bringing basically an appreciation back to respecting ourselves and nature, respecting our environment, respecting the very thing that has been, where the boundary has been crossed. I think that's what we're seeing with the starfish here. It's really, really interesting. So between these three, anchoring down, finding the balance, and the starfish, there is something big that is going to start to come up in Gemini season, new forms of communication in your particular environment that will impact or have an impact that is not so favorable. And it has to do with some kind of betrayal, or some kind of, where the boundaries are being crossed for money, where there is sort of actions being taken without the consideration of the greater good. Something like this is going to be coming up during Gemini season. And I think that what we are being asked here is to hold space for that to happen, because sometimes we just don't know that certain things are going on in the background. So this is something that is going on in the background that is going to come up to the surface. And I think that what we are to do is actually hold space for that, because we are to help each other during this season to really come back to our center, a center to respect who we are, and a center to respect what is happening in our lives. Because when things go in the wrong direction, we need a moment to actually see why they went into the wrong direction. So I think that the starfish is communicating that through this card right here. So that's what I'm seeing here for the space element. Now, before we dive into your sign, I do want to quickly mention that I do offer readings in person, and I also do video recordings that I do send to you with a private link. And if you would like to book any of my readings, that information is in the description box below. Right now, I do have a tarot reading, which is a video recording that I do for you personally, that is on sale, 30% off. So if you're interested in working with me a little bit closer, then you can book that reading. And everything that you need to know, again, is either at upriseastrology.com or in the description box below. So now let's take a look at your personal zodiac sign. You can listen to your sun, moon, or rising, or you can listen to all three if you know it, to kind of get a bigger reading and to know what is going to be coming up over the next 3 months.
Hi, Taurus. So we're going to take a look at your very first cycle here, the first phase in the spring cycle that we're in. And the very first opening card is the Wheel of Fortune. You right now have this opportunity to change the journey that you're on. And the journey that you're on will change in regards to what used to be your reality and what the reality will be moving forward. We have the Four of Wands. We also see with the Four of Wands that you're going to be really creating a new, valuable, day-to-day sort of responsibilities for other people, but not, I don't want to say responsibilities. It's almost like you're either writing something up or you're creating new sets of responsibilities for people that are going to be a part of something that you are building. So it could be your company. It could also be a particular process that you're in, that you're building for yourself, but also for the future. But it will be educational for other people as well. And it will be fun. It will be fun. It will be something of value for the long term. So this entire phase is setting you up for something really incredible. Now, this something really incredible will have a lot to do with the journey that you're taking on that you don't really quite know exactly how it's going to unfold, but it's going to prove to you that it's going to be one of the best things that you could have done. The Temperance. Again, it has to do with communication, or you communicating sort of a sense of responsibilities that people would want to be a part of. Almost like a space that you're creating that will be a beautiful space. I see that some of you are building either a website, something like online, or you are building something like in a physical space. If you have a bricks and mortar business, this is going to be something that is going to prove of a long lasting value. And already a lot of you know what it is that you want to do with this business moving forward. It's almost like you're wanting to build it either to be of long lasting value so it can, kind of give you financial rewards. Not your entire support system, but it will give you financial rewards, or you want to build it as part of your success record, or something that you will be proud of that you built, but you are planning to sell it in the future. So there is sort of a lot of the focuses here this month on this. Now, it could be that you are also just doing this, if it's not your own business, that you're doing this in your career, that you have this incredible career opportunity right now where what it is that you are being tasked with is going to prove to you a good time, a good investment of your time. It comes with a healthy dose of kind of looking at yourself and looking at your roots, like who you are, what it is that you can do, but also aligning the past, the present, and the future with this particular opportunity. So something about this opportunity also works you internally in that you are looking at reconnecting sort of to your roots. Now, some of you, this will also have to do a lot with your family or with your lineage. I'm seeing that as well. Okay. Now, the King of Cups is a place where you will encounter two things, either one of those or both, or just, it's a general reading, or it's just going to be like those themes. Okay. The word that keeps coming up for me with the King of Cups is gratitude. I feel like that you are maybe in a place where you will be encountering people who might not be very grateful right now, that are a part of your life, that, they're benefiting from something that you're doing, and they might not be in a place that they are maybe grateful, or you're missing the sense of gratitude. You're missing this sense that this is a blessing where you're at right now. Something is interrupting the peace, and it could be very much connected to 1 to 3 people. Okay, I don't see more than that. It has to do, for some of you, with the living situation. For some of you, it will have to do with your children. And then for some of you, it will have to do with a partner, or the partner's sort of, there's some friends attached here. So I feel like you guys are going to be in a place where you may have to dig in a little bit deeper to see what this situation is mirroring back to you, and what in regards to that needs to be in a place of discussion. 5 of Swords. Okay, so there is something like this that is happening as well. You are right now dealing with a particular situation where you are wanting to get a lot of things moving forward, maybe a little bit quicker than what you're seeing. And I think the reason there was a little bit of this slowdown is because there is sort of a timing that is going to play out. And this is going to happen from the 1st of May until the 10th of May. That time frame is going to be huge, because you will then have sort of this moment where all of your patience is going to pay off. All your patience and all the stuck feelings that came with you wanting to move things forward in a particular way, they will have the perfect timing. It will be exactly the way that you imagined it. But until then, things are going to feel like they're giving you a little bit of this, headache, just like in this picture right over here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just clarify cards I'm not going to clarify every single one of these cards. What I am going to do is I am going to clarify the first, second, third row, and then we're going to pull clarifies for the last two cards. So the Wheel of Fortune, let's go back to it. Right now, you are in a place where you are bringing the power of your mind and the power of your heart together to an opportunity that you have right in front of you. 3 different areas. It has to do with your legacy. It has to do with building more money. It has to do with building, like rewarding situations where money is coming back. And the third option will have to do with your career. Okay, so those 3 things. Now, you have had this idea to create a very valuable thing. And right now is the prime cycle to move ahead with these plans. So if you've been wondering whether this is the time, yep, this is the time. You're getting all of the clues. The timing is now, okay? That's where I see that the energy is supporting you first and foremost, and all throughout the month, you're going to see that you are in this new cycle. You're also in a place where you emotionally have the space to now focus on projects, on career ambitions, on building new things or adding things to your career, where you know that there is the space for you to really give birth to this thing and to really just have the answers come from within you. Whatever you're doing right now, it's a very spiritual time, but it's also a time I feel like that is working you emotionally on really focusing on the future, really focusing on your belief. What do you believe about yourself, and what do you believe is possible in your future? These are the types of things that you're going to be focusing on. Now, the Four of Wands, for me, for you, is in regards to typing up very important policies, or you're typing something up and you're posting it. It's either a blog or it's on social media, or it is, you're working something online, as well as if you have like a physical space, you're making some changes within your physical space as well. This right here is a challenge for you though, because it's new. It is where you are having to trust your uniqueness. Let's just say that you have to sort of trust what it is that you know, and you have to kind of go for it. You have the space to go for it. You are having to sort of go into this because this is part of your path now. And part of this path may feel a little bit difficult, but because you're trusting yourself, 9 of spades, you're a lot better with sort of releasing certain worries or doubts in regards to whether you can take this on or not. This is where you're also going to be confronting situations now where there's like a missing ingredient. You're looking for it, almost like at times you're not able to say or even articulate what it is that you're looking for, but you're looking for this particular feeling, this feeling of, and I'm going to say it's gratitude, because that's the word that keeps coming up here for me, for you. So this feeling of gratitude or meaningful, like something that's meaningful to you, you're wanting to connect to that more than ever. And you are able to connect to it the more action you take, the more you listen to yourself, the more you have courage, the more you step onto this path right now. This is where you are going to experience meaningful exchanges with other people. The King of Cups also is correlated to someone in your life that maybe is not in a place where they're appreciating you. This situation is going to be coming up where you feel like they don't think the way that you do. But the reason this is coming up is because there is sort of a choice attached to this relationship. That's another thing that I'm seeing. You are having to make a choice. You're having to make a choice in regards to lifestyle changes, because somehow this person is part of your lifestyle, and you are taking a look at your future as well as their future. So this is going to be a time where I feel like you are going to prepare to sit down with this person to find the solutions on how to move forward with each other. This is going to be a very big thing that's going to come up as well. But more of that, I feel like, is going to come up towards the new moon in Taurus phase. Right now, it's just a preparation of all of that. You're just kind of collecting sort of the situation, like you're assessing the situation, you're collecting the data in a way, you know. I know it's going to sound really weird, but that is sort of where you are also embracing more of the challenge to be authentic, you know, with this person and let them know that you're having this experience. And a lot of beautiful things are going to come out of it. It's just right now, you maybe have a little bit of a fear that, you know, you're not going to get the kind of commitment that you're looking for. But it's just not, it's just a fear. It's a fear because there's so many moving changes that are happening here that you are in the process of taking a look at your very own thinking patterns and your mindset. So the Temperance and the Five of Swords, the Temperance is completely correlated to your family, your lineage, your roots. And it has to do with things in the past that you've been wanting to do, with where you're at right now. And again, a lot of your emotions are going to be on the future, and it's going to be on you, the journey that you are here to live. This is very important to you right now. And so you're bringing the pieces together that you want fulfilled. You're bringing the pieces together. And here the universe is saying everything that is disrupting you at this time is a blessing. It is divine intervention, because the way that Uranus is aspecting your chart, you are to reinvent the way in which you think. You are to become more malleable. Flexibility, okay, is the thing that is going to give you exactly in the perfect timing the things that you have been looking for. But it also is connected to faith. It is connected to synchronicities, and it's connected to you allowing yourself to just let go of things for a moment. Because when you let go of things for a moment, you can really create a much better relationship to the things that you have faith in. And having faith in not only yourself, but in, you know, the things that are not moving right now, because you feel like they have been, you've been looking in them, and there's a little bit of this impatience that comes with this, you know, like, okay, I have sat in this same space for a while. Why is this still happening? Well, this is the time of metamorphosis for you. This is a time where you're really deeply taking a look at how to be supported when, and what are some of the things that support you when the universe isn't really quite showing you all the evidence of it. So the evidence comes right after the 5th of May. The evidence comes right after the 5th of May. Between the 1st and the 10th, though, you are going to be moving forward. Things are going to start to fall into place, and expect miracles during this time. Okay. This is also going to, you know, show you that it is a time to sort of let go of things you're holding on to that have a lot to do with keeping you sort of in a place that you're comfortable and familiar with. But now is the time to change yourself. And in order to change yourself, there might be some expectations you have to let go of. You know, these expectations, they're there, they're fine, they're good. But if you let go of the expectations, exactly what it is that you need will be presented. Okay. So right now, stay open is the message. Stay open. I'm going to pull 2 cards for these two. We're going to lay them into the middle. So here we see the Judgment and the 8 of Wands. This is a big ending to this phase and a beginning to the next phase. So the last couple of days of this phase, which are going to be, you know, anytime from the 8th, 9th, 10th, okay, you're going to be able to recharge. You're going to be able to slow down enough to conserve your energy, because right now you're coming out of that, you know, like intense pause, intense sort of, you know, looking at your commitments, looking at the choices you've made, looking at further choices you need to make, you have made, and then things weren't moving forward. So there's a couple of days where there is going to be some very important things you're going to learn about things like the stuff that you were waiting on, okay, you know now with such like surety that you can embrace everything that you've been wishing for. Like you can embrace that, you can step into it. But it wasn't until now that you realized maybe that you are not doing it by yourself. You're doing it with other people. There are very new relationships here that you are nurturing now, or they have a new feel to them. And this is the key. The last couple of days is going to give to you this, your patience is paying off type of feeling. And it's also going to, it's going to give you sort of signs and omens and sort of this innate knowing that there is going to be a newfound sort of power that you are stepping into that has a lot to do with money. It has a lot to do with what you're building, but the value of it is what is like the best value. It's the best thing. Maybe you were doubting some of that a little bit because that Eight of Wands is reversed. So now things are moving forward. Perhaps you were doubting it, but now you don't have to doubt it anymore. And this is also going to be a time, I think, the last couple of days, you're going to see something that is going to give you assurance that you're on the right path. And what you're seeing will have a lot to do, Six of Clubs, with communication or something out in nature that you're looking at. I don't know why the image of a seahorse or shells are coming into my periphery, but I feel like that something like this is going to come up. Either you're by the ocean or you look at something, you see like it looks almost like a seahorse, something in regards to that. It gives you that moment, whatever you were thinking of, you're going to have that intuition that you're on the right path. Now that's what I'm seeing here for this phase. Now let's take a look at your cards. Your spiritual messages are healing chaos, happiness, enlightenment, power. Yeah, it's exactly what we just said. That power that is coming, it's rising, it's an innate knowing that you are in a very good place, that you're headed in a very good place, okay? Now, the healing chaos has a lot to do with your identity. And honestly, it has a lot to do with you giving birth to a new self. You've been working very hard on this. And at times, maybe you said to yourself, am I crazy? You're not. I think that there were times that you couldn't explain what was happening with you because so much from the unconscious has been surfacing. Things you forgot. And they had to come up so that you could choose something different for you. You will be just really redefining a lot of that as we go, but majority of the work of where you're headed right now on your path, that has been thought through. After much, times of not being clear, you're now clear of where your happiness lies. You're very clear on that. And it has also to do with a very, very important relationship in your life right now. Can be romantic or not. Could be a business partnership, could be a romantic relationship, but this person the relationship is new and it is it's proving to you like you were meant to meet each other. So you guys are creating something together, and that a lot of your the stuff that makes you happy at this time has to do with this involvement because it feels creative. So there is a sense of gratitude that is going to be setting in. The enlightenment has to do with times in your life where you trusted people and you had to learn the hard way that they took from you. That wasn't easy to deal with. So what you've learned here is that you had to trust in a way to build a new relationship to yourself, that in the moments when you cannot see something for what it's worth, you have to rely on your other senses. You have to rely on, taking the time to see how your body feels about that. Can you open up to this thing? Can you open up to this thing? Can you open up to this person? So it's taught you a lot, and it's perfect the way that it is, because now the incoming wave, which has a lot to do with your career, your new sense of self, with relationships dynamics, it is sort of unconventional, it's new, and you are going to be taking a different approach. May not be linear, may be abstract, may also be an approach where it feels like it's sideways, sort of in a way. When you get to Cancer season, you will see that all of the new things that you're doing, they were exactly like the things that were necessary, the tools necessary on the journey that you're on right now, on the phase that you're on right now. So here you're learning to maneuver almost with a tenacity, you know, and also to be more methodical in a different kind of a way. So that's what I'm seeing here for the first phase. Let's move on to the next. All right, Taurus. So your season, happy birthday to all the Tauruses out there. We're going to have a fresh new moon in your sign. And this is going to be a very important Taurus season for you. More important than any of the other ones. And here's the reason why. This month or this phase, you are starting out with the devil energy. And this devil energy has to do with things that you, or stressors that you're going to be confronting. Now, the stressors you're confronting may have been things that you've maybe avoided for a little while just because it wasn't the right time to deal with certain things. And right now, you are going to be in a place where you are going to have a very increased receptivity to deal with difficult situations and to just overcome them. And the reason for that is because your future is sort of being rewritten by you, and it's going to be a deep time to remain present to things at the time or in this very moment that have to do with stressors, okay? And these stressors, again, they will have to do with your journey that you're on. They will also have to do with where you feel emotionally in the past that you couldn't maybe trust other people, okay? And because you couldn't trust them, there is sort of this boundary or a new boundary that you are creating. And now you are going to broaden your perspective as a result of it. This is where you're rebuilding your trust, okay? And the trust that you're rebuilding definitely has to do with the Ten of Pentacles. It has to do with the long term. It has to do also with your karma, or you feel like that you're on this karmic path, you know, for your future. It will have to do sort of being mindful of your surroundings, and you're going to be paying attention to a lot of people around you right now, because you are in this place where you're very like in this sacred space. You are in this exploration phase as well. It has a lot to do with your sensuality as well. It also has to do directly with your passion that you're trying to live out. Now, the Eight of Pentacles very much is going to be an energy that is going to give you an opportunity to detach from things in your life, again, that need to end. There are very particular things that need to end, okay? The way to navigate this is to really understand what you also need to communicate between you and others in order to make this happen. So to face forward, to start to head into a much healthier kind of lifestyle. This also is going to impact your lifestyle, but also the way in which you're going to be spending your time. This will have to do a lot with trying on new things. Trying on new things, allowing for yourself to just stick to the path ahead, even though the emotions are intense. Be cautious of how you're going to let others treat you throughout this period as well, because there could be sort of this, you don't want to cling on to anything, is what I'm trying to say. Try to really stay malleable and flexible, because everything that you're doing right now is just sort of setting you up to understand what are the other missing pieces that you will have to consider as you are creating more and more growth in your life, because this all has to do with growth. It also has to do with your passions, where your heart is at. Some of this stuff will relate to romantic relationships or children, and it will have to be with you trying not to stress. So whatever you're doing right now, you're going to be able to really hone in anything that stresses you so that you can let this go, so then later you don't have to stress about it. So you cannot control sort of certain aspects here, but the ones that you can, that is what the season wants you to really pay attention to. I am going to be drawing clarifiers for each of the rows, and then 2 clarifiers for the cards towards the end there. So let's dive right into it. The first clarifier for the first row, I can't believe it, we have the 4 of Hearts again. So again, you have the time to listen to your heart here. You have the time to listen to your heart. What do you need to remain present with? What are some of the things that are creating attachment in your life that are just no longer healthy? You've outgrown them, and you're connecting to a whole new hope here. And allowing maybe for yourself to welcome new beginnings, and maybe create some space for you to grieve over what it is that you are letting go of, and like new sort of responsibilities that you're taking on. So you're going to find exactly the right kind of balance when it comes to prevailing, when it comes to moving forward. But it also has to do with you realizing that there's nothing else that you need to change. You just need to keep connecting to the way in which you think. You need to broaden your perspective as far as what it is that you're capable of sensing and what your skill sets are, just trusting them, keep moving forward. You don't have to right now dive into anything else. You are sort of welcoming like a new responsibility, a new beginning in your life that has a lot to do with your passions. So just stick to the simple things right now. The third row, the 10 of Pentacles with the 4 of Cups. That 4 of Cups basically just lets you know that you are in an observation mode, and you are going to be looking at certain relationships as well. Again, these are more acquaintances as well. You're looking at certain relationships. You're looking at, there could also be people right now that you are just waiting to kind of see where they're at. Just learn how to be more graceful right now. Give them some grace, give them some opportunity, because I feel like with the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, you will be able to find your center and where you're at as far as those relationships when, people will be giving you more info about themselves. That's what this is about, okay? So it could feel a little bit chaotic right now just because you're making lifestyle changes. Just know something really, really big is coming that will allow for you to look at your journey ahead much differently. And right now, it is just about committing to the tasks that are in front of you. And if you don't know the answer to certain things, try not to stress about it right now. It's not a time. Ask for help, ask to be supported if you need it. Now we have the Hermit and the Page of Swords. The way in which you're going to end the month, it has a lot to do with you making a choice. And this choice has a lot to do with your past that does not have to define your future. Okay? It will also have to do with your passions right now. And as a result of it, it will create more money for you as well. So you're making a very important money decision about the future as well. So you're making a choice here. Maybe you're adding a little bit more of an investment. Also, property will play a big role. Then the Page of Swords basically says you have to spend a little bit of time here finding out more like things about paperwork or things that you maybe necessarily don't want to go over, but it's just so necessary that you do it because you have to read the fine print. Something about the fine print, you have to read it. Again, this is about maneuvering sort of in a very methodical way, because it's sort of like, okay, this old cycle is ending. There's a closure and then there's a completion, but it also comes with a choice. And it's directly correlated to money. It is correlated to real estate too. It is correlated to that and to some physical items in your life. But right now, you're just sort of reviewing all of it. That's what I'm seeing as well. So make sure you read the fine print. Whatever you're dealing with as far as the paperwork goes, this is going to be a time to read the fine print, okay? Now here, healing chaos came up again. We have security. So whatever you're doing this month is going to ensure that you're going to feel secure, okay? We see it in the card. We see that you are very much working on, you know, situations right now that are basically knocking on your door saying they have to come to an end. And it has a lot to do with your personal balance. Here's the scale. And it has also to do with being able to think clear, you know, moving forward. So that's what I'm seeing here for this season for you, Taurus. Let's move on and see what the solar eclipse in Gemini is going to bring you. The solar eclipse new moon in Gemini is a very powerful turning point for a lot of people, because we are going to be in this place where it's going to feel a little bit more than just chaotic. It's going to feel like so many changes are coming at us in a fast kind of a way. And people are going to be dealing with numerous different mindset clashes. Let's just say that. Now, how is this month going to unfold for you? We have the opening cards, the Three of Cups reversed, and the Moon. What I'm seeing is that you are going to be working on your emotional comfort zones a lot. And what this has to do with is, you know, people who are crossing your boundaries quite a bit. There are going to be several different relationships where this is going to be happening and unfolding. The Three of Cups basically says that this is going to be a time where you just have to practice a lot of self-care. You need to take care of yourself. This is a time to be gentle with yourself, because there are so many things that are going to be unclear. The Moon reversed, it's going to be unclear, but you have the strength to kind of start to look at decisions that have to be made. And the decisions that have to be made, they will sort of create a little bit of this confusion for a moment, but there is liberation that comes out of it. As soon as you get to the full moon in Capricorn Cancer, you're going to be able to get clear and move forward. And there are actually situations that will clear the situation up for itself. You don't even have to do anything about it. So it's sort of like you go into this period of confusion, but then the Tower card steps in and you are going to get your clarity. Because whoever is going to give you a difficult time this month, whoever is not speaking their truth, whoever is kind of trying to make you move fast on making decisions, that person, they're sort of cutting themselves out of the picture. So that's really interesting. And what happens here is that you are going to actually be able to devote from this point forward. A lot of this devotion will have to do with new emotional comfort zones and finally really drawing the light, drawing a line in the sand with certain things that just create a lot of turmoil within you, you know? So I feel that you are practicing more being peaceful in your heart, but first, some things have to surface. What are the things that are going to be surfacing? This has to do with a smaller group of people that you're working with, or it has to do with family members that are close to you. Okay? Like almost like a family, but may not be your family, maybe another group of people. So here you are taking a look at the situation, and what is happening right now is that you're in this place where you're a little bit uncertain, okay? And the best way to navigate this is to focus on sort of the quality within these relationships. Like, what is it that you are feeling? Why is this person all of a sudden acting weird, right? What is it that you're picking up on? Do not fear the unknown things right now, because you do have the balance to deal with these kinds of situations. Again, I do see that there is a couple of people here. Could be simultaneously something going on at home while there's also something going on at work. There's a tremendous amount of effort right now that you have to put in. You're putting a lot of focus in, but you also want to be realistic about it. So what is really important is to approach unclear situations from a place where you're strong in your purpose. You know what your purpose is. You know what everybody else's purpose is supposed to be. So trust your instincts, because you're going to be able to see things that they don't seem right. It's not the truth, and you know it. The Temperance says that you can rely on your own inner heart, right? You can rely on your own inner voice. You know what it is that you're seeing. So slow down, be patient, practice persistency here. These are the things that are going to be moving you forward. The Seven of Cups, that confusion, it has to do with a heartfelt conversation you need to have with someone. It has to do with what creates sort of a burden in your mind. But this person is also pushing. They're pushing for you to make a decision. And so it's time for you to realize what is holding you back here in the situation. Like, what is it that you're fearing, right? Just let it go, or look at the fear, right? What is it? And then let this thing go, because whatever decision you're going to be making, at that point, it's going to get interrupted through the Tower card. The Tower card is this other person who comes out and says something like they're actually not working for you, for what it is that you're trying to create, or with you. They're working against you. And so here you are realizing that you have to sort of consider a new approach with this person as well. There's just a few words you're going to speak, and then that situation is going to be done. Like, you're stepping into understanding, you know, the people that are there, that are very devotional, that are with you on the same journey. These are the people that you are wanting to choose, because they're also choosing optimism. They're choosing being hopeful. They're choosing being in a place where, you know, they find strength also through situations that are a lot more at ease versus creating drama. These people don't create drama. So practice patience here, and practice sort of a sense of, I feel like, you know, the actions to take will have to do with the epiphanies that come through, and the epiphanies will come through. So step back and take a break and disconnect to reconnect is the message here between the Queen of Cups to the Jack of Diamonds, because you're going to find the solution to sort of break this situation that wasn't peaceful. Okay, so I think that what you are going to see here is that you are not alone. There's people that are supporting you. The situation is not what it seems. You know, follow the things that are really making you feel passionate, and then let that sort of sink in. Reach out for support. If there's people around you that are willing to give you the support, it is going to be very, very important to reach out for support here, because the energies are going to be rising during this time. Emotions are going to be escalating, and there's someone who is just, I'm not sure they're doing it with you, but you are a decision maker, or you are part of it. Are they trying to improve you? Something like this. So you're going to have a conversation here where you're going to break the silence, and you're going to say, I can't really, this is not a supportive situation. And perhaps, you know, if you're a boss, you're basically going to say to the person, like, this is not the best emotional situation for any of us here with what it is that you're trying to create. Perhaps you need to just not be working here. If you are in a career situation, there is going to be a conversation that you're going to be having with someone who does make decisions like this, because you're going to be asked for your opinion. If you are in a situation with a family member, you are going to take, you know, a leap of faith and have this conversation with them for once and for all, because you can't continue this way anymore. It is creating way too much headache. You want to change this. And how you feel and how you think about it changes as a result of it as well. So there might be a little bit of this moment where you experience sort of this, oh, uncomfortable, like I'm going to have to, you know, communicate this. It's not comfortable. But what ends up happening is it just restores a sense of vitality and a sense of independence back. So that's a lot of cards for the Seven of Pentacles, but I just wanted to make sure that we were clarifying. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull clarifiers for each of these cards. The Rose. Let's see what else is coming through, okay? So the Globe. This is a perspective card. This has a lot to do with gaining perspective now. And you're seeing sort of situations that seem very impossible, but there's a lot of possible opportunities that are going to come out of it. Except for right now, you're sort of in this place where you're practicing a lot more self-care in the moments when it will matter. Okay, this is number one thing. The second thing is that it's still okay to move slow when everybody else wants to move fast. You don't have to respond to the world the way in which the world wants you to respond. You can pause for a moment. And someone or something is not unveiling their entirety, right? Like that is the thing here. So pause for a moment, take a look at it, because guess what? The moment you do, you see it all. You get grounded. You're able to extend you're grounded into a sense of stability. You gain stability and you're able to see what they're doing, okay? And what they're also doing is only temporary. We have the wolf right over here. That wolf basically just says, okay, when things are rough, what do you need to do in order to feel supported? Can you embrace the change? Can you adapt? This is going to be very, very important because that Seven of Pentacles is an adaptability card as well, okay? What are your spiritual messages? The truth is going to come out. Whatever you are dealing with where you are unclear, because that truth is so important to you. Why is the truth important to you? Because everything else that you want to create is on the other side of it. So you need that liberation, you know? You have to have that liberation because that is going to be the key moving forward, because you are going forward. You're going to get a spiritual key here, okay? This is where you're going to establish, you know, what's yours. And you're going to put your foot down. And as a result of it, the truth, okay, always comes out, and it allows for us to accept certain phases. It allows for us to examine our priorities. And it also allows for you now from this moment forward to aim for the highest good for everyone involved. I know this was a shorter reading, you know, as far as like this segment goes, but it's going to be really just a lot of your attention is going to go here during this entire cycle. The last thing that I do want to say to you is, while we are still in this moment where Mercury is going to be retrograde until about June 22nd, that's when it's going to start the station to go direct. During this time, okay, learn what it is that you are protecting yourself from that doesn't maybe necessarily need that kind of protection anymore. Really listen to yourself. Really listen to letting your guards down with the right kind of people, because you do not have to do any of this alone. You're going to get super clear who the people are that you can trust right as soon as June 22nd and on arrives. During that time, you're going to find your people, you're going to find your tribe, and there's going to be much more of an inner peace here. Okay? No matter what turmoil is being created, you are still solidly moving forward, no matter what is being created here. And you know that too, but there's a couple of things that are going to be, you know, kind of pulling you back and forth here. So just know, again, this is part of that metamorphosis that I was talking about in the first phase, I believe, that has a lot to do with you discovering new territory within yourself and within others, new experiences, new people that really support you and strengthening this area of your life. And that's what I'm seeing here for this solar eclipse. You know, it's going to be pretty straightforward for you. Now, I also feel that, lastly, that I do want to say this. After this, there is going to be a very big opportunity here for you to follow your intuition. And this intuition will have a lot to do with being able to create more money. Okay, more value though. Like, it's not just about the money. It's about creating something that is going to be of a long-lasting value. So these are the messages that I'm seeing here for you, Taurus. Let me know if this reading helped you. I am always happy to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any questions. I will try to answer the first couple of questions if you have any of them. I might even pull some cards for you guys. Just let me know in the comment section below. If you want to work with me closer, again, all the information is in the description box below this video, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye.